Wow. The Dazn curse continues. It looks like Roman Gonzalez versus Juan Estrada. Juan Francisco Gallo with Estrada. Part 2 reaches a snag, and it may not happen next, as previously rumored. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash app, and the Patreon family. We working. Sign up below. My link is below for the Patreon. Yeah, it's a good time. We're doing the group chat, so we get to talk this boxing talk the way it's supposed to be done. Or you can hit the join button and become a YouTube channel member. These things help channel so I can continue doing what I'm doing, these types of things. Now, the Dazn curse continues. Michael Benson of TalkSport, he's reporting, and there's other people, but this is one of the options. Says the Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, Juan El Gallo Francisco Estrada rematch unification is seemingly not happening next as hoped. Chocolatito is standing firm that he should get over $1 million for the fight. Quote, if they think I'm crazy, I can't do anything about that. I am collecting what I am worth. And he said this to a Nicaraguan magazine, La Prensa, right? So another hurdle for Dazn, you know, not a good look. Listen, this is just a terrible look for Dazn, because Dazn, I told you their business model had some flaws that needed to be addressed. You got Canelo Alvarez, and it was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to Saul. But the amount of money that he was reported to get with no pay-per-view, I always had questions about that. And I use my channel, I use my platform to address these concerns. But I waited. I said, let's just see what happens. I give everyone in boxing who enters, you know, I give them that fair chance unless they come in with some foul stuff. You know, which Dazn kind of did, because they had Eddie Hearn, you know, threatening to take over America, and like just making the same people were going out of business. And we got the biggest budget, bigger than HBO, bigger than Showtime put together, $1 billion war chest. And, you know, we heard these things and we're just like, okay, you got to make good. They also, Dazn came out and they claimed that pay-per-view was dead and a thing of the past, and they were going to rid the boxing game of pay-per-view, or rid the world, or whatever. But so far, pay-per-view isn't dead. UFC, they've done recent pay-per-views. Jorge Masvidal, that was a pay-per-view, versus Usman, right? Boxing is going to continue, like, or I can't say boxing, but people in boxing. Top Rank says if Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko fight, they're saying that's going to be on ESPN pay-per-view. Right, we're hearing rumors of Errol Spence could fight against Danny Garcia. Talk about Danny, champ of the world, Philly. Tank Davis, Gervonta, and Leo Santa Cruz, they're saying that's going to be pay-per-view. We watch Wilder on pay-per-view. Wilder Fury 3 is going to be on pay-per-view. So the point I'm getting at is Dazn has not gotten rid of pay-per-view. In fact, if you fast forward to the future, now Eddie Hearn is talking about Dazn could go to a pay-per-view model. And it's like, what? Look, it says it's pay-per-view method. I thought Dazn killed that itch. See? And now Dazn's looking like a laughing stock, because you can't come talking that greasy, saying American takeover and pay-per-views out of the water and, you know, done for and all this stuff, and not make good on that, you know? And then Eddie Hearn's dropping these quotes. The drive for me now is to control boxing, to control the sport globally. You can't even control Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. So that fight before the pandemic was said to be a thing. It was actually, flyers were made and all types of stuff, right? Now all of a sudden, that fight fell apart. So how are you going to control boxing and you can't even control fights like Chocolatito? You know what I'm saying? Amanda Serrano. Like, it sounds diluted and it sounds delusional. How is Dazn? And again, I told you guys in my honest opinion, see, people try to keep up with new media. You won't be able to do it because you can't be saying stuff. You could do whatever you want. But what I'm saying is you can't say stuff maliciously or off emotion trying to compete. You can't compete like that. I'm telling you what I feel and what I see in the world of boxing. Nothing more, nothing less. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But so far, I'm looking like Ego Stradamus with a lot of this stuff. How is Eddie Hearn going to control boxing like the UFC, and he can't even make Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor, and it was said to be done before the pandemic. Now you have another fighter with Eddie Hearn, Roman Gonzalez, and they saying the Estrada rematch that some people were anticipating that was going to be on Dazn. They've reached a snag because Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez is saying, I'm not fighting him again, because the first Estrada, Juan Francisco Agallo Estrada and Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, the first fight was controversial. Some people think that Roman Gonzalez, when he was undefeated, lost that fight, right? So this is a dangerous fight for him, even though he looked good in his last fight against Cal Yaffe on the Mikey Garcia, Jesse Vargas undercard. It's dangerous because we've seen since that point, the McWilliams Arroyo fight was tough for Chocolatito. I was at that fight live. His fight with Carlos Cuadras, you know, that was his eyes were swollen shut. Like, I could pull up pictures to all this. Look, hold on. Let me pull up pictures. Chocolatito, right? Chocolatito eyes after Cuadras fight. His face was looking bad. Look, right? His face was looking like crazy after that fight. So look, there he is. See? Look, he looked like Mac and Me. You remember that movie? Mac and Me? Bro, man, come on. Who remembers the movie Mac and Me? That's what Chocolatito looked like, bro. Do y'all remember that movie? Like, his face was, so he was in tough fight. Not to mention Sor Rungvisai. Mac, hold on. Y'all got me working overtime. Mac and Me. Look, bro, he looking like Mac and Me with swollen eyes and stuff. Y'all remember this movie? Anyway, his eyes was looking pretty bad. Then he got dropped by Sor Rungvisai, right? He got dropped by Sor Rungvisai and lost. And then he was supposed to set the record straight. Then he came back and lost worse versus Sor Rungvisai. Then he disappeared for a month of Sundays, and, you know, he had like the tune-up style fight, and then he came back. He did come back, and when he came back, he looked good. You know, he looked good against Cal Yaffe when he came back against a higher ranked person, right? He did look good in that fight. But now he's demanding over $1 million. I don't know that in a pandemic, if Dazn and Eddie Hearn are unable to get Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, Ryan Garcia, he's another person on Dazn, and he's complaining about his pay. Ryan Garcia just signed a deal last year after complaining and bemoaning about Golden Boy, and he was thought to have come to terms and had a bigger, you know, most lucrative fight contract for a prospect or something. But now it appears that Ryan Garcia is still not content, you know, with his minimum or his pay. And now it's just, the bottom line is, it's a common thread with Dazn. Canelo's options that we're hearing, especially the ones like Quigley and stuff, these aren't the most desired fights. I understand we're in a pandemic, but you can't, how are you going to charge $20 a month for a product? The fans don't care. They're either going to pay or not pay. So you're going to have to be able to produce or not produce, period. So it's looking bad for Dazn if financials are the common thread and common denominator, and there's money woes. Ryan's not happy with his pay. Canelo needs a cheaper option. Eddie Hearn's now doing interviews saying that they may go to DAZN pay-per-view, which they were against, and they said pay-per-view was dead and Showtime Boxing was going out of business like HBO Boxing, and they said that DAZN has a bigger budget, $1 billion war chest, and more money than HBO Boxing because they were around at the time, and Showtime combined, and the PBC did this and that wrong. Now it's looking like DAZN's on the wrong side of history, because how do you have all these financial woes, all these fights getting canceled, like just little things like how come Eddie Hearn signed Amir Khan, has Kell Brook, but Amir Khan and Kell Brook have never fought. Now, I don't even know if people care about the fight, but they could have done that. How do you have Katie Taylor, and before the pandemic, she was supposed to fight Amanda Serrano. Now Amanda Serrano is saying Eddie Hearn is worse than horrible and arguing over money. And then Eddie Hearn blocked Amanda Serrano from other, unrelated endeavors, trying to starve her out. And now, it could go to some kind of litigation, or, Eddie Hearn saying that Gerald Miller owes him money and Amanda Serrano owes him money. Like, this doesn't sound good. Canelo needs a cheaper option. Chocolatito versus Estrada, which would be anticipated, from some. It's still not a blockbuster, but some people want to see that fight. Estrada has been doing well for himself. He just beat Rungvisai, looked good in the rematch. Chocolatito looked good in his last fight. But the problem is, this was a rumored fight, and now we're hearing that it's not going to happen. So this pandemic is putting the nail in the coffin. And Estrada's promoter, and this is a unification as well, he holds his nose at Chocolatito's financial demands because he wants more than $1 million. So this has been going on from this. You see, this article is June 15th. So this has been going on for a minute, and now it's reached fever pitch because Chocolatito's replying to that to the opposite team. They're trying to get the fight done and willing to rematch, but now Chocolatito's reply to La Prensa is, I don't care if you mad. He says, if they think I'm crazy, I can't do anything about that. I am collecting what I'm worth. So it's looking crazy. And I don't know what Chocolatito is worth, but I know a fight with Estrada, Dazn in a pandemic, I don't know how he's going to get that type of money. So they'll probably just put both of them in with lesser fights, because I don't know that fight is worth that or going to give the type of traction needed for that fight to be, to get him out of the red if they're paying Chocolatito by himself over $1 million. So Chocolatito believes he's worth that, over $1 million, and, based off his last performance and moving up division, his body of work. But I just don't know if that's reasonable for him to get that type of pay in this pandemic, especially if Dazn has showed all the signs that they're losing money. The billionaire investor, Lynn Blavnik, or whatever his name is talking about trying to raise money and, have someone take over, Sachs Goldman take over their profile and selling assets. And, it don't look good, that they can't get these fights done. They were talking about Canelo versus Derevyanchenko, but now it's looking like Derevyanchenko, Jamal Charlo might have snatched and scooped him up, So it's looking crazy, and a lot of this is financially rated. And once again, I blame Dazn. Because they came in and they try to adjust the market, and there's a time and a place to innovate. Sometimes innovation could be if you come in at the right time with the right idea, boom, like Netflix. It was the right time, right idea. So they came out, Netflix, a lot of people don't know this, they came out in like 96, 97. So they've been around, but they hadn't really blossomed, but they came in the right time where people needed a change, and they ushered in the online streaming, and then before that was sending movies to your home. And you had Blockbuster, who was always thought to be the existing, brick and mortar that everybody would gravitate to. But Netflix came in innovating, and that's one particular example of innovation at the right time that succeeds. But with Dazn, their innovation, they're like, can't beat them, join them. They came in saying we're the Netflix of boxing and pay-per-view is dead. But now they're talking about raising the prices. Eddie Hearn says we want to make it $50 a month. Or he's also done more recent interviews saying we want Dazn pay-per-view for certain fights. Now all these fights can't get done over money. Ryan Garcia's angry with his money. They're saying Canelo needs cheaper, more reasonable guys and offer. This just looks totally bad. So it sounds like Dazn, the people up top, whatever, they're doing a restructure and they're trying to stop what they've started, which was overpaying guys. And the funny thing is, I could do this all day because I've talked about this for a minute now since they came out. The funny thing is, you have a black advisor in Al Heyman. He launched PBC in 2015. All the media writers, all the old media, they were saying that Heyman's project, his baby, PBC, Premier Boxing Champs, was destitute to fail. It was spending too much money, overpaying fighters. Now look at this. The same people, those same writers who are still in the game, they not saying nothing about Canelo getting $36.5 million to fight Kovalev, a fight no one asked for. And Kovalev almost got stopped by Anthony Yard. Or Kovalev almost getting $40 million to fight against whoever, Jacobs. And Jacobs getting $12 million and Kovalev getting $12 million. I mean, it's just, DAZN came up and they thought they had to overspend, and now they're regretting it. And now, you know, we'll see what's next. Now you don't, because you overspend, gave Golovkin, that picture looked crazy. Canelo did him bad. But let me get off this picture. Eesh. Now that you've given Golovkin $15 million, you know, reportedly for Steve Rolls and Derevyanchenko, a fight a lot of people thought he lost. And now you're trying to get Canelo cheaper options. Now you're trying to get cheap options for Golovkin, like his mandatory Camille Says Meta. Now fights like Roman Gonzalez and Estrada, which people could have been anticipating, these are falling apart. Fights like Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, they're now falling apart over money. I mean, you tell me this is looking good. DAZN Curse, Digital Mob. Sign up for ESPN Plus, link in the description. ESPN Plus, home of a lot of original content. They got docuseries, documentaries, archives of boxing and UFC fights. It does help the channel in a phenomenal way when you guys use my link, ESPN Plus. Click on that link. You know, you can also get the ESPN Plus pay-per-views with UFC. It looks like Adesanya and Costa is getting close. Not fully official, but that DC Cormier, you can buy those pay-per-views using my link. It does help the channel in a phenomenal way. Helps me continue to create. Let me know what you guys think of this topic. DAZN looks like the money, they're getting tighter, and Chocolatito's not budging. So most likely we're not going to see the Estrada fight. So I told you this was to come. DAZN Curse continues. The other thing is, last year, if you look at DAZN's whole schedule, they didn't have that many anticipated big fights. Like Joshua Ruiz, I don't think that was anticipated. People thought Ruiz was going to get slept. It just happened to be a good fight. Same thing with Triple G Derevyanchenko. That was a great fight, but people didn't anticipate it. So that means they found out after and shit. And then they also, I told you guys, the World Boxing Super Series also saved DAZN because some of their good fights, like Inoue versus Nonito Donaire, that fight was on World Boxing Super Series. But the World Boxing Super Series doesn't really have that many divisions, and they started to fall apart with like financials, and Regis Prograis pulled out and stuff like that at a particular time. So we don't really know what's up with that. They haven't even completed the cruiserweight tournament from last year. Plus, they're running out of divisions where people are going to enter the World Boxing Super Series because they're not aligned with them. You know, Inoue went to Top Rank. Josh Taylor went to Top Rank, so I don't imagine that Top Rank will send them to the World Boxing Super Series again, you know, when they've already won titles and whatnot, and send them back to another platform instead of making their own fight. Top Rank can make Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez. Why would they send Josh Taylor back to the World Boxing Super Series? And the World Boxing Super Series accounts for a good percentage of DAZN's good fights, like Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis, and Inoue versus Donaire. Donaire, I think, went to PBC. So they're losing people, they're losing money. Certain people's contracts didn't get renewed, like Michael Hunter and Daniel Roman, so they're no longer with Matchroom. Canelo, his options look less than favorable. They had Katie Taylor Serrano, fight fell apart, right? They had Chocolatito Estrada, anticipated fight. Looks like it's no longer, it's a no-go. Ryan Garcia's upset with money. Usyk versus Derek Chisora, I don't think it's been formally announced, and I don't even think that's a big fight. It's looking bad, man. DAZN Curse, we working. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.